Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes. And we are here for episode 262 of the Talk That Talk Show. It was funny, I'll get into this a little bit later about the event that I had, but, fast forward, someone had asked me, they were like, yo, you have a podcast? How many episodes in are you? And I told them over 260, and they just couldn't believe it, and I think that the excitement that people have when they see the brand, it's just refreshing, man. And I think that even coming on here, it had been a couple weeks since I had been on the air, had a lot of things that I had leading up to this episode as far as outside events and things of that nature. So, I'm just happy to be here. I think it's funny because I think when you get through that routine before of, getting through those episodes and having them weekly, when you kind of have gotten out of sync of that a little bit, you get those little butterflies a little bit and, I get that little bit of nervousness. But I'm excited to get back on here and get back on the ropes. I looked at it on Buzzsprout, big shout out to Buzzsprout who hosts us, this podcast. But I looked at the stats and we were able to have 24 episodes this year for an average of 2 episodes each month. That again, it's been a little bit less than we've had in years past, but overall, the amount of things that I've had in my life as far as engagement, in certain job aspects, relationship wise, I've just had a lot different plate than I've had than most other years. And again, I think that in seeing the numbers, our viewership did not drop. If anything, we've had a little bit more viewership where we were able to get 30,000 downloads this year. For a lot of people, it's hard, man. And I see that. And, I never want to underestimate and undervalue, what it takes to come here on, the podcast and give you guys 110% of myself. I've had people ask me, big shout out to Jeffrey, he's one of my biggest, supporters, my best friend, my brother. And, he's constantly asking me, yo, this would be a great topic for the Talk That Talk Show. When's the next episode coming out? So I think that, Jeffrey represents, the abundance of people that do sponsor and with their ears, man. I think that oftentimes you think that, sponsorship has to come monetarily or, has to come in certain things like that. But, I feel like the people like Brian Spawn of the world that continue to, tune in on their drive into work. My brother who, he's laying down in his bed, but he still had to open his eyes to listen to this podcast. I've just had an immense amount of support. And I think that, over this past year, I think I needed to, give a little bit more appreciation to you guys that tune in. Shout out to Aunt Trish. She's someone that when I talk to her on the phone, she's happy to hear whatever good news I have to tell her. But, again, it's the support from people like her and people that, you don't see on an everyday basis that means a lot, and I had a conversation the other day, about a lot of the different things that have been going on in my life, to my mom. And, I was just telling her about, how I have, such bright things ahead of me in the future. And she pretty much had to reaffirm to me that your future is right now, you're doing it. And I think that what gets lost in translation sometimes is the amount of work that it takes to get to a certain level and how much consistency it takes to continue to push forward, and I think in taking a little bit of time away from the podcast, it definitely reaffirmed that dedication that it takes to do this, on a weekly, monthly basis. I have someone like Linda Smedic, Mama Smeds, big shout out to her, my boy Admiral's mom. And, the first topic that we're going to talk about on the show was literally her question, and I feel like when you have people that continuously tune into the show and that really truly value your opinion, it's not hard to come here on the show and give you guys what you're looking for. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for all the support that you've given me over these past couple of years. I never would have made it to 262 or even further. without each and every one of you guys that tune in every single episode. It means the world to me. I'm going to continue to bring the heat. And going into the next year, into 2025, we got a lot of big things in store. I gave out some of the last hoodies at my latest event that I just dropped. But you can definitely look to see some new merch on the horizon. You're going to definitely look to see some off-site locations, some new guests. And we got a lot of big major things planned. So even though it's been a couple weeks since the last episode, I'm just happy to come here with you guys and share whatever time we have. Tomorrow's not promised. So, every day that I spend above ground and, get a chance to, speak my mind and show people who I am, how can you not have a good day, And I bring up this topic on the first segment of Talk That Talk Show today because Linda Smed, Mama Smeds, asked me, like every other person in that's a friend group with me, what team I rep. I'm a diehard Mets fan. I went to the playoff series, took my brother on his birthday. The Mets mean a lot to me. So when we got, obviously, Juan Soto for 15 years, $765 million, obviously that's an eye-opening thing. And the first thing people asked me was, what do I think about getting Juan Soto? Well, and the first thing I had to look to is, when you're looking at a 15-year deal, I want to know how young is this guy, right? And at 26 years old, Juan Soto has accomplished what a lot of people in their baseball careers haven't done in about 5 to 10 years, right? Or a whole career's worth. So Juan Soto, what a lot of people don't realize when they say, and this is something that I've heard from the Yankee fans, oh, he's not a generational talent. Oh, he couldn't win us the World Series, right? A lot of sourness from the Yankee fans, but I'll say this. He is in the conversation for potentially a generational talent. How can you not give it to him when the guy won a World Series within his first 5 years of being in the league? I think that people forget that the man pretty much catapulted that Washington Nationals team to a World Series. And when you got to look at what the Mets lacked when they lost in that playoff series to the Dodgers, the pitching was pretty good, but ultimately the Mets could not outscore the Dodgers. And I know that seems very simple, but what I'm trying to say is that the offense from the Mets could have used a little bit of a boost. Was Sterling Marte the guy that we thought initially during crunch time? Maybe he wasn't. But I think that with a guy in Juan Soto, when you put him in that lineup, it gives a little bit of protection to all the guys around him in that lineup because you're going to get a competitive at-bat with Juan Soto. So I think that from the Mets standpoint, which kind of got them far into the playoffs, was having those competitive at-bats. When you have Juan Soto who will give you that instant boost to your lineup, how could you not want a guy? Then I hear this. Oh, getting a guy for that long is going to cripple the Mets financially. Do you know who our owner is? Uncle Stevie Cohen, baby? I say this. How many times have you worked for a job and they've promised you a promotion? They've promised you that raise and they keep telling you it's coming down the line, but it never comes. What about that girl that says she'll go out with you one time? She ignores your messages. She doesn't text you back. She stands you up, right? Don't you get tired of things or people that tell you they're going to do things that don't actually do them? So for me to have a franchise owner in Stevie Cohen who actually said he's going to do what he said he was going to do, how could you not be excited as a Mets fan? Since Steve Cohen has come to New York, he has said that he is going to make the Mets competitive. Was Max Scherzer the best pickup? No, but it got us to the playoffs for that year. Steve Cohen is not afraid to do things that people don't want to do. And what I'll say is this. The phrase that I've lived by on 2024 is, if you do different things, you get different results. So I'm just here to say, hey, for those people that are doubting this contract situation with Juan Soto, I'm here for it. There is no salary cap in baseball. The Mets are still talking about potentially getting Pete Alonso financially. So think about it. If you can have Pete Alonso back, you add Juan Soto, don't you think that's going to be a great destination or attract other people that want to come to the Mets? I'm just saying this. Juan Soto being signed shows that the Mets are not out to just sell tickets. The Yankees tried to sell the allure of the Yankees, the prestige. They fill out more seats. That ain't going to be enough when you're talking about a guy in Juan Soto who has won a championship, took y'all to the World Series, and the rest of the supporting cast didn't show up. It was the most non-competitive World Series to date in recent history, right? So, if you have the Yankees who are telling you about yesterday, about all the things they've done in the past to try and get you to sign for the future, there's no telling why Juan Soto said, fuck it, I'll go to the Mets. The Mets are serious. Of course, they just paid him a boatload of money, but I think what I saw in the Mets is, I think they looked at Juan Soto and they saw stability. We saw in the Mets a couple injured players went down. Nimmo went down for some time. There was a couple other injuries, but even, we had to talk about Starling Marte, but he had injuries again as well, too. But I look at Juan Soto, I look at a durable guy. 150-plus games in 5 out of 6 years. One of those years was a shortened season because of COVID. So I'll say this. If any guy that you're going to give $725 million out of a 162-game season, I want the guy that's going to play 150 games, especially if he's going to take me to the playoffs every year. So, hey, a lot of people say, that 15 years is a little bit too much. We've seen the big-time contracts not work out, but sometimes you got to gamble. Sometimes you got to roll the dice. And I'm here to say that Juan Soto is worth the dice roll. Then, I'm a diehard Knicks fan. It's been a minute since we talked about my Knicks. But last time we were talking about the Knicks in the NBA Cup, potentially having a chance to win the NBA Cup. Well, sadly, that is not going to be the case. The New York Knicks did lose to the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA Cup. But fuck the Cup. It is what it is. I'm here to say about what I observed from the New York Knicks losing the NBA Cup. And I saw this. I saw a team in the Atlanta Hawks that had length, and they absolutely outworked the New York Knicks. There's plenty of times where the New York Knicks made their identity based off of how hard they worked. They're outworking guys, beating guys for the 50-50 balls. But when you look at a young team in the Atlanta Hawks and they literally are out physical, playing these New York Knickerbockers, and you're losing on your home court, the physical battle, that speaks dividends down the future in thinking that people can just walk into Madison Square Garden and dice roll like Trae Young. There's a reason why people continue to say F Trae Young every single time. Because the guy shows up in the biggest stages, right? The Atlanta Hawks showed me a physical side that the New York Knicks have lacked. Yes, the New York Knicks have won games. Yes, they're one of the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. But when it comes down to winning a championship, that Atlanta Hawks game showed me I don't think the New York Knicks are ready to win a championship yet. Playing hard and playing physical are 2 different things. I can play as hard as I want, but if I'm getting bully balled and I'm getting out-muscled, that's a completely different thing. The New York Knicks effort has never been a question, but they just got to get a little bit tougher, man. And I think that, that loss to the Atlanta Hawks should hopefully get a little bit of toughness in them to where you got little brother knocking you around a little bit. I think that's it speaks dividends to what the New York Knicks hopefully are trying to accomplish down the road, because if you're going into battles and you're getting out physical, if you're getting outworked, it's just not, you're not going to win a 7-game series, especially when these series are 7 games off the rip. When you look at the 76ers, right? When I watched the New York Knicks beat the 76ers in Philadelphia, I watched the New York Knicks out-muscle Joel Embiid. I watched Joel Embiid in his own house cry like a baby to the refs. All right? That was an physically outmatched team. When you're talking about the New York Knicks now, I do not see that same physical team out there. We've seen spurts of that team, but for a 48-minute stretch, that's what I need to see from the Knicks. I need to see physicality. I should not see possessions where the Atlanta Hawks have 4 and 5 offensive rebounds playing fucking volleyball off the glass to themselves. That is not okay. All right? I shouldn't see Jalen Brunson getting out-muscled for 50-50 balls on the floor when he's supposed to be the captain of the New York Knicks. I love my New York Knicks to death. The New York Knicks, they play hard. They just got to get a little bit more tougher, all right? And if they can find that toughness somewhere, then we'll be talking about Eastern Conference contender. Because how can you get out-muscled and then go think you're going to win 2 games in Boston in a playoff series? I'm sorry, it ain't going to happen. So until the Knicks get a little bit tougher, I am not putting them in to go to the semifinals like they did last year. They got to show me something, all right? Then, we talked about it a little bit before. You know, the last couple weeks have really been the home stretch for me towards finishing this event that I've been planning for a long time. For those of you that don't know, I made a career change not too long ago, decided to go into the cannabis industry. You know, for those people that have known me, I've been in cannabis for quite some time on the legacy side before I became on the legal side. But like I said before, cannabis has literally taught me how to use every bit of what I've learned in all the different jobs previously, all the different walks of life through college, through anything, high school, all the different social skills, all the different networking, all culminated to this event that I threw last Sunday. And I think the cool part about it was I got to start all the way from the beginning, and it just really started as an idea between me and my manager, Isaiah. I remember we were just like, we had an idea about potentially doing a golf outing. And then we thought about it, and we saw about a couple different other organizations doing golf outings. And we were like, shit, man. Again, you wanted different results. You got to move differently, right? So I said, I want to do something different. I don't want to do a golf outing. What if we did bowling? I'm a state champion. I go to nationals every year. So again, me and Isaiah, we were talking about it. I was like, yo, why don't we just start doing this bowling tournament or a little bowling event? And then I just started typing. And I remember I was at the front desk. He's like, yo, Barry, what are you doing, man? And I just remember I was just typing, and really just pulling out this business plan. And then months down the road, we pitched that business plan to the owner. And it wasn't like, and I think that, the big advice that I want to give to anyone out there, if you're looking for any guidance from anyone higher up, whether you're talking about financial backing, whether you're talking about brand partnership, I think you have to have things spelled out to the T automatically. Because if you go up to someone trying to talk out of your ass and you don't have any results to prove it, and you don't have a plan in place, then nobody's going to want to invest in you, and nobody's going to want to put forth their energy, time into whatever you're doing, right? So for me, I had to come out with this written business plan. I had to come and say, hey, I can get X amount of dollars for you guys without you having to put up a single dime. And when I had that leverage, it was almost a no-brainer for that Cloud9 to come on board and say, hey, I'm going to rock with y'all and I'm going to support this event. And literally, when they put that battery in my back and they said, Barry, you can use Cloud9 to help get some of these vendors, it was like we hit the ground running. Big shout out to my boy Cisco over at Sun Concentrates, because ultimately they were the first vendor to come and sign up. And once they, and I think, again, another thing that you should say is, whatever your price is, stick to it. Don't bend for nobody, because you know your own value. And what me and Isaiah did was we set a price and we stuck to it. We said, for you to sponsor, it's going to cost this amount of dollars. And then ultimately, when we pitched it to Sun Concentrates, and my boy Cisco said, sign me up, the rest was history. It's like once you see that something that you're working for is attainable, or once you see that it's not that far out of the realm of possibility, then that grind becomes easier and easier. Once we had 5 sponsors, then we had 10 sponsors. Once we had 10 sponsors, then we had 30 pre-orders. Once we had 30 pre-orders, then we had about 300 prizes to give away. Every step just kept going in the right direction, all because we took that first step. I forget who says it. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, right? So all it takes was for us to go down, write out that business plan, say, fuck it. I am going to go add sun concentrates. And then we got garden greens. Then we got the clear. Then we got the hashables. And then when it came to Sunday, and you look at that playbill, and you look at that sponsor sheet, and you say, damn, over 168 people showed up to bowl at an event at Majestic. You know, the rest was history, man. Again, the key word that I'm going to have to keep saying is leverage here, because, again, what we were able to do is leverage our effect on the industry. You know, Barry's Corner. You know, nobody asked me to make reviews for the store. And then once we started getting those 2,000, 3,000 views for every video, then we were able to leverage with these brands. Hey, we can put you guys as the top pick of the week. Hey, we can give you guys prime location on the bowling lanes. Hey, we can let you guys be the first place prize in grassroots, right? So I think for everyone else out there, you know, it doesn't have to pertain to doing a bowling event. It doesn't have to pertain to doing corporate events. But I will say is this: the sooner you learn how to leverage what you have and what you can provide people, you will start to see people be very generous in what they can do for you, right? The whole footage for the entire event that I had at Majestic, I had an entire videographer there that I didn't even have to pay $1 just because of the fact of a video I did for him back when he had a pop-up, one of his first weeks being on the job over at Timeless. I said to my boy Zay, I said, yo, let's do a pop-up video. It didn't take anything from me, right? I wasn't getting anything in return. I said, let's highlight this brand. And sure enough, about 6 months down the road, this same guy, big shout out to you, my boy over at Timeless, he was able to put in 4K video footage that I was able to chop up and make a video to make our store proud. And literally, all I had to enjoy this moment was everything up here. So he was able to, you know, document that so that I could enjoy it, man. Because I think a lot of times what people don't understand is when you're running an event, you're going up and down. You don't have the real time. I remember people were buying me drinks, but I felt I couldn't enjoy it because I had to make sure everybody was okay and having a good time. And I'm glad that I did, because after the event was done, my phone did not stop blowing up about the people that had fun, about wanting to do it again. And I think that's the biggest thing when you have success, is just taking a step back to just soak it in and be like, damn, you did that shit, man. And I think that that's what these last couple of days have been for me, is showing that, you know, this cannabis industry is definitely one that you're going to want to be in. But at the same time, you know, you get what you put in. You know, from me doing this event, the amount of opportunities that have come both internally and externally, it's been crazy. You know, we were able to have a brand in Niche, who's one of the top brands in the state, decide to do exclusivity with us. We're one of the only 3 people in the state to carry them. We had them do an exact strain launch at our event, to where people were driving an hour out just to get a sample out of Majestic lanes outside of the alley. Yo, the effect of what you do resonates longer and farther than sometimes than you may imagine. All right, I'll say this: I thought we were gonna be successful, but I never could have imagined packing out 28 lanes at Majestic and having brands begging me to do another event, and me having to tell them, yo, chill, I got you. We got to let this resonate a little bit. We're going to get it done, but just wait a little bit. So that only tells me that we had a successful event. You know, to have my mom, my brother, my sister there, my brother-in-law TK, my girlfriend, my friends, just surrounded by people. That's what it's all about, yo. We got my boy Mal Pacini goes, damn, bro, you really got a kid's book out. I want to get one for my daughter. Hey, man, yo, I'll say this, bro. You know, the main thing is this. The more you try and just do the right thing, the best things will come out, man. I think that for me, being myself, continuing to be on the right path and inspiring others, you have no idea, you know, what that effect has on people. So, you know, again, I hadn't seen my friend Brienne from college in about almost 5-6 years. And my boy Jeff, big shout out to him, he reached out to her and said, hey, you got to come to this event. This is a huge event for him. You got to come out. And then that speaks volume to my friend Jeff, who, again, supports me in damn near everything I do. And he was able to recruit people to come on out. And again, when I stepped back and I looked and I saw all the people that were there just because they fuck with me, because they fuck with Cloud9, because they love our brand, it's very humbling, man. And again, the authenticity, it bleeds through my lungs, man. Like, I can't lie to y'all when I say that this was just built from just me being myself. You know, when you see someone who's unauthentic, when they give you that weak-ass dap, you know when it ain't real, you know? And I think that anybody that listens to this podcast, anybody that I've given a Talk That Talk Show hoodie to, you know, you guys know that you're getting 100% of Barry. You know, this isn't the fake shit. This isn't someone trying to be someone they're not. I haven't gotten to 262 episodes being someone that I wasn't. I didn't get, you know, the opportunities that, you know, things down the road that are for me without the consistency, without being myself. And I'm just here to say that when you continue to invest in yourself and when you continue to believe in yourself, anything's possible, guys. Anything is possible. And it's funny that I say that because almost in a way I kind of got to hype myself up a little bit because, you know, in closing, I got to give you guys the update on what's been going on in bowling. And, you know, I think the cool thing about bowling is that even though it's an individual sport, you know, in the team aspect, you know, you can bowl well and still lose. You know, you know, all season we've been coasting, kicking ass, taking names on Monday night. And going into these last 3 weeks, we're on a 3-week losing streak. You know, I'm averaging 210. TK's averaging 212. My brother's in the 190s. And we've just hit a dry spell where, you know, everyone has just been coming ready to kick our fucking ass. And I'm just, you know, I think that, you know, we've kind of used the excuse of, damn, these guys are shooting career numbers. Damn, you know, they're kicking our ass. You know, they're you know, they're having career numbers. People, it's out. All right, people are trying to knock our block off. People want to beat us. You know, we have become the litmus test for people because we're getting better. So in doing so, we got to rise to the occasion. There's a reason why Kobe Bryant is the Mamba mentality he is. Because when people bring their best, he brings his best and squashes you. So I think for me and our team, we've been bowling well. We've been bowling great. But we haven't bowled our best. And I think that when we bowl our best, and if we're coming down to it in position round every single week for the next 3 weeks, do you want to face my brother who has 300 games? Who is arguably on his way to be coming back to being the hottest bowler again? Do you want to bowl against TK? Do you want to go against a motivated Barry Holmes Jr.? Are you sure you want that? Because I'm saying this. These last 3 weeks, people want it. They've shown it. But now we have to want it. We got to want it a little bit more. We got to show up and put our best foot forward. We got to show people we still got a lot more left in the tank. We're dangerous too, man. And we don't need no handicap to hide behind. And I'm ready. You know, I think that these last 3 weeks were a wake-up call. And last night, in a night where you win wood and you still lose 12-13, I think Tyree's hungry. I think TK, he's woken up. I think you got me ready to run through a brick wall. So I think that, again, the bowling event was dope. But I think the thing that people don't realize is that it wasn't just a corporate event for me. After Sunday, I got to go back to being a killer on Monday. I got to go to Thursday and try and go secure us a top 10 spot to end the season. So, yes, this bowling event was dope. But bowling, this is who we are, baby. We didn't get a state championship from nothing. So, this idea of bowling didn't come out of nowhere, man. It came from hard work. It came from putting in the effort. It came from getting my ass kicked by Marcel multiple times. Having people beating you. Having Larry Walker and his team destroy us when we still bowl well. It takes those notches. It takes getting knocked down to get back up. And with 3 weeks left, I'm here to say, TK, Tyree, don't give up on us. We're still dangerous. And I know we got a lot more left in the tank, yo. And on that note, I'm out of here. I gotta go edit this episode, make sure that it gets out to everybody that's been waiting for these past couple weeks. Yo, episode 262 is in the books. Thank you guys for being patient with me over the weeks. I'm sorry I haven't been able to, make this my top priority because of the event. But now, hopefully, with this event's conclusion, again, we're going to get right back to business here with the Talk That Talk show. More sponsorships, more events down the pipeline, more merchandise, more authenticity, more realness, and hey, more Barry. My name is Barry Holmes. This is the Talk That Talk show. You know what time it is when you see that live go on. I'm happy to be here on all streaming platforms, whether you're on Instagram, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, you name it. We are on all streaming platforms. Thank you to everyone that tuned in live on Facebook, whether you're Howard, Chris Scott, Deanna, Sal, Trish, Ashley, Sherrod. I love each and every one of you guys. Stay tuned in, stay locked in. Check us out at talkthattalkshow.com. I love you all, and I'll see you next episode.